I'm hitting the button. Hello. And it's freezing. Oh, we are recording. Okay. I didn't get it this time. So this is going to be fun when we play it back. Oh, there it is. There it is. Recording in progress. I'm Rick Moore. This is MSO News Sports, and really happy once again to be talking with Peabody Mayor Ted Bettencourt. And Mayor Bettencourt, welcome back to MSO.
It's great to be with you, Rick. Look forward to talking about Peabody.
It has been wild times, Mr. Mayor, and you've been on a job for a while. And I do want to kind of look back on from the beginning when you were sort of like a rookie to where we are now. But first of all, I'd like to focus on the Peabody response to COVID, because I said to people back in fall 2, when high school sports were being played in fall 2 in May, February, April, and May, I thought we were coming out of this thing, and then it didn't really happen. But now it seems like, yeah, things are settling in. So if you would, Mr. Mayor, a little review of how things have gone.
Well, it certainly has been some very difficult and challenging days everywhere, and it's been so in Peabody. Really, the last year and a half, a great part of the last year and a half is just trying day by day to deal with the issues that come at us, trying to help our residents get through these dark days, trying to help our businesses, small and large, trying to meet their needs in any way possible. So it certainly has been difficult. I feel like a lot of the long-term planning has kind of been put on hold a little bit to really focus in on the short-term issues and trying to just help our residents and businesses get through their days and to try to provide relief wherever we could. Certainly, our focus was on our businesses, particularly the small businesses that were really struggling. We worked with restaurants, providing outdoor dining opportunities for them, and also providing some grant money to try to help some of the small businesses and just trying to meet their needs wherever possible. And again, trying to help with the health and well-being for our residents.
I think it's a great point that you mentioned, as sometimes I forget how some things just everything had to be put on the back burner. You had to get through day by day. And I'm sure, Mr. Mayor, it was a lot of fun as the rules changed, maybe hour by hour, in what you were supposed to do.
It was. That made it even more challenging because, we're trying to get information and updates wherever we can. And certainly we were relying a lot on CDC guidelines, our state health department, working with our local health department. And it was changing on a daily basis, on an hourly basis in some ways during certain times. So that created more of a challenge. We tried to just simplify things as much as we could here at City Hall. I wanted to try as best we can to have our students in school, but provide options for remote learning. That certainly was a major challenge and a big focus of ours. And just working with our health department, our public safety, and again, trying to meet the needs of our residents. But it was difficult because we were getting information really on the fly, and we're trying to do the best we can to decipher it, put it into action, and get the word out as best we can.
I think one of the positives that have come out of this is this Zoom technology that I have been able to pick up and meet with people. How much did you communicate or maybe exchange or have interchanges with other mayors during this? Because I know that you speak frequently with other mayors in the area. That's part of the deal. But how much did you exchange information, maybe to help each other with ideas and that kind of thing?
Yes, and that was a key for me, kind of going through this. I've been mayor now 10 years, which is amazing for me to say, and I've developed some real good relationships with a number of my colleagues, mayors and town managers across the state. And so quite often, sometimes during the real heart of this, we were meeting 2 or 3 times a week on different issues, trying to discuss what each city and town was doing, what we need from the state, what we're asking for from the state. Oftentimes a message is better received when it's a group of mayors and rather than us acting individually. So that was a key for me, being able to hear what others were doing, talk about a little bit about what Peabody was doing, but really it was a collective team effort in many ways.
What did you do with businesses closing, opening, that kind of thing?
Exactly. Yep.
In terms of losing businesses.
So thankfully, there were some victims of COVID, no question about it. But in our downtown area, our North Shore Mall, some of our highways, and where we have a lot of our commercial and business groups. We were really able they were able to sustain and continue. A number of restaurants and eateries that I was really worried about in our downtown area really fought their way through, and now I don't want to say they're 100% back, but they are definitely doing much better. And I feel like they've been able to sustain themselves through these difficult days. So we did see some businesses shut down, like every city in town, but I'm very pleased that a lot of the businesses that we were worried about have been able to make it through.
I'm going to catch you off guard here a little bit because we didn't talk about it in our pregame warm-up, but a headline that jumped out to me in a most positive manner was you declined a raise this year, and I'm sure that resonated very well across the region.
Yeah, and that was that was a decision I just made. I felt that it would be hard for me to ask for a raise or to have the council vote a raise for me during these times. We were laying people off. We were letting go a number of part-time employees. Thankfully, we didn't have to let go any full-time employees, but we really had to buckle our belt, and we had to make some real tough budget decisions during those months. And it's carried over a bit. Things have gotten better, but I just didn't think it was appropriate for me to take a raise when I was asking a lot of our employees and a lot of our residents to kind of buckle down, and we all had to do that, I believe.
I think it's a great leadership move, Mr. Mayor. Congratulations for that. I'm sure.
Thank you.
And it could have been easy. Don't need that extra dough,
Yeah,
no,
sure.
I get that. So let's project now. You're about to head into a new term as mayor, and maybe before we look into the future, if we could go back to the past a little bit. I do this with high school seniors in sports when we talk to captains. Reminisce a little bit about what it was like maybe when you first got into city council, or maybe when you became a freshman mayor, and where you are now in terms of understanding, in terms of learning, and in terms of leading.
Well, that's a good question. And I actually have been thinking about that a lot lately because, I've been mayor now 10 years. And again, it seems amazing for me to say that. I was on the city council 8 years before that. And I remember those early days, both on the council and as mayor, when I was just trying to figure things out, learn. I've always been one to ask questions of colleagues and seek information and help from other people. I've never been afraid to ask for advice or help or support. I think that's important for any mayor or any elected official to have, is the ability and the confidence to ask questions and seek help. And I was very fortunate when I became mayor that I had a lot of senior people here, senior department heads that knew the city well, knew the issues. I mean, I had been on the council and I had been on a number of different committees, the finance committee. So I had a good understanding of some of the issues, but there's things that nobody can be prepared for. And that's something I definitely have improved. And it's just through being on the job is every day, I don't know what's going to come at me. There's moments of crisis. There's moments of real concern. And, I feel that I've been able to handle those things well. And again, a lot of that is because I have good people around me and I'm not afraid to ask for help. So that's been the biggest thing for me, is just being ready for anything, whether it's weather related, a problem at a building, a school, and certainly now with COVID. You never know what's going to come at you, and you got to be ready and not, I guess a good way to put it is just not overreact and try to be calm and focus on the solution rather than what's the problem.
I love to hear that. When I first met you a number of years ago, you demonstrated a tremendous enthusiasm and love for the city and for your job. And it doesn't seem like that's waned a bit. What gives you the most, I don't want to say satisfaction, but the most joy? Because I know it took me a long time to understand. When I got up in the morning, I couldn't wait to get to work. And I didn't realize it wasn't like that for everyone. So what gives you the most joy about being the mayor?
I really do love my job. And there's been certainly moments and days, particularly over the last year and a half, where it's gotten to me a bit. But I really enjoy coming into work. I enjoy trying to find opportunities to help the city. What really motivates me is just seeing improvement. I I really wanted to focus when I became mayor on infrastructure work. I felt that our schools needed an upgrade, our downtown area needed an upgrade. I really felt that we could do better with water management and being able to handle severe weather. That has been something that I really believe had been a dark shadow over the city of Peabody, and particularly our Peabody Square area. So those things have always motivated me. I had a great deal of pride here in the city growing up. I went to the schools here. I coached here. I was a lawyer here. My family is very large, and we all pretty much live in the Peabody area. So I've always had that deep connection, and I've greatly enjoyed the job. And there's been, moments of difficulty and things I wish I could do over. But I really believe that I've helped the city move in a good direction. And, our new middle school is always something that gives me a great deal of a strong feeling of pride about. We've been able to, and we've seen it over the last few months here where we've had some severe weather and rain, that we are in a much greater position of handling storm events. We've had storms that definitely would have shut down Peabody Square and some of our major streets for days and even probably weeks. We now are down to really, we didn't get any water in our downtown, and some of the side streets were closed for really only a couple of hours or a few hours at most. So we've done a great job, and that's something that gives me a great deal of pride too. So I feel like we've taken some great steps, but there's still a lot more to do.
Okay, and let's talk about that. I mean, as you pointed out, downtown Peabody certainly is renovated. It looks much different now than it did many years ago. And you have such a wide swath. You've got from that area from Salem all the way over to 114, and such a diverse infrastructure not problem, but logistics. So what's in the future?
So there's a few projects I'm really excited about. And they're at different stages right now, but over the next couple of years, they're going to come to fruition. We've been able to partner with the state for a TIP program, which is transportation improvement projects. They're usually around some sort of transportation. And the big one we have coming up next year, 2023, is a complete redoing of our Central Street corridor, which is a major corridor that comes from 114. 114 turns into Central Street, and then you follow Central Street right to Peabody Square, right where our courthouse is. That's going to be completely redesigned, and new infrastructure, new sidewalks, new crosswalks, new planting of trees, new lights, new paving. And we're going to be able to widen the road in some areas and make it much safer for pedestrians and for drivers. So that's going to be a major project. It's a continuation of some of the other work we did, but we were able to get a state grant for $11 million to do that work. And I'm very excited about that. The other one that's been a project for me that I really wanted to focus on, a big part of, I didn't mention this earlier, but a big part of my efforts have been to try to improve our parks, our bike paths, are just recreational opportunities in the city. So over the next couple of years, we've been approved for funding to continue our bike paths. And we'll be able to do a connection actually over Route 1. We'll be building a bridge over Route 1 to continue our bike path from West Peabody into our kind of more of our central downtown area. And we'll be able to have almost a continuous bike path from Middleton all the way to Salem. A couple of small little breaks, but that's something I'm very excited about. And then the other big one for me, and I am going to keep pushing on this, it's right up there among the very top goals that I have and top priorities, is to build a brand new high school, either build a new one or a new one where maybe we could rehab some parts of it. But I believe we need to take that next step. It's an older building that has really fallen out of date. We have some great things happening there with our teachers and students, and I just think the school is not up to where we need it to be. And I've seen the difference with our new middle school. It's made a huge difference in our what's taking place there, and I need that to happen at our high school, and I'm going to be pushing for that.
Wow, sounds ambitious. And just as a question I thought of as you were mentioning, the street projects and so on. Because Peabody is where it is, you get a lot of traffic off of 128 that goes through Peabody into Salem or headed to Swampscott or headed to Lynn. So do you have to involve these other towns and cities as well?
Well, that's a great question. So, there's two things that, every city and town has their things that they pride themselves on. And, certainly Peabody, I always like to take the opportunity, and I'm going to take it now to say that we have the lowest taxes in Essex County. We have the lowest light rates, lowest water and sewer bills, which is always great. But the other thing we have is excellent access to highways, and you can get on the highway very quickly and not go through other cities and towns. But what that also does bring for us is that a number of cities and towns have to go through Peabody to get to the highways. Salem, Marblehead, Swampscott, there's a whole bunch of them that oftentimes they have to access Peabody. So yeah, we're in communication with them as to what's taking place. Give them notice to let them know, because that's going to affect them when we're doing this major work. So yeah, that's just another benefit of the relationships that we have with that I have with my colleagues. And that's just something a lot of times is, more formal, and other times it's just a quick text or email.
Well, this has been really enlightening, Mayor Bettencourt. Thank you. I hope I can see you again, maybe after the new year. Anything else you want to mention that I didn't ask you about?
Well, Rick, I just hope you're doing well. I hope your listeners, it's certainly been a trying time for all of us. And, I feel like we're getting to the point now where we bringing people back to work. People want to work, and we can start thinking again long term, which is important for all cities and towns. We've had to kind of batten down the hatchets and focus in on our individual needs, but now we have to start looking at the bigger picture and the future and all of that. So I'm excited. I feel like we're getting very close to that point, but still some work to do to make sure everybody's healthy and safe. But I'm really looking forward to the future and looking forward to my next term.